I'm Brad Jewett.
I'm Tim, the Trail Man.
Keeping it real.
And now, Brad and Tim.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are ready to get this night started with the one and only Miss Pattie Carter. You're going to be joining us very soon. Tim, any big news today that you want to share with us that happened in your world in North Texas?
Wow. News, no. I did a little cooking for my girlfriend, Miss Tina Vollmer.
Cooking. What would you cook?
Bacon this morning.
Bacon. Well, I mean, I guess technically that is cooking.
Yeah, for me. You know, I'm a man of trail, man.
You know, I've seen some really unique dishes that you do, man.
You want me to say sushi or something in the water? That's not going to happen.
Sukiyaki.
Right? You guys? Come on, man.
No mass Walmart trips or anything like that today?
I did.
You did go to Walmart again.
I did my gloves. I did the mask. I did my... Yeah.
All right.
I was clean. I was clean when I went in, so I'm good. I'm good.
Man, Tim.
Not very long. Not very long.
Hey, we want to make sure we bring our sponsors in today before we get started. Of course, we'll take our halftime break and thank our sponsors again and then stick around at the end of the show. But we want to thank Unishippers, Blue Ribbon Custom Tack, C. Letchworth, Bits and Spurs, the Silver Dollar Circuit, Horseman's Future, JewettEquine.tv, Kimes Ranch Jeans, Machine Made, and Chauffeur Doe. We thank you all for allowing us to be here today, because if it weren't for our sponsors, we wouldn't be able to bring you this high-quality show. How about everybody? You like us being cast in 4K now? How about that?
How about like making sure you talk straight into your mic?
Well, you know, I have to look over here at your head really big on this screen to make sure you're in the middle of yours.
Well, because I'm so small. I'm so small on my screen right now.
I'm reading over here on the side. You know, I'm going to get my monitor up here in front of me here someday to where I can actually stay kind of focused in on my camera. But that is because. So we got a deal. Like maybe we still have an echo. Do we have an echo?
That's what Jonathan said. So let's check that.
Yes, we got to get rid of that echo.
Tim is okay. Thank you. Thanks, Jonathan.
He doesn't have one of these fancy
Because
mics.
he has the mic, you guys. Trailman mic.
So, Tim, are we ready to bring on Miss Pattie Carter?
Yes, please. Please, please.
Let's do it. I think we need to bring in Miss Pattie Carter. Kona, can you bring in Miss Pattie Carter, please? There she is, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello.
There we go. Make sure audio's on. We're good there. I like it.
Audio's on. You bet.
Let's do it.
Welcome. So, sorry, I'm trying to get rid of this echo as we go here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry because I watched this back last night and it drives me nuts. But I'm going to try to stay up here really close to my mic so that we can maybe get rid of it.
Boy mic. You go by the big boy mic.
All right, Timmy. Timmy is our question man. He's got a line of questions here tonight for Pattie. So, Tim, let's get it kicked off, brother.
First, thank you for coming tonight, Miss Pattie Carter, one of my best friends here. So, we need to go back. Start when you were born. Tell us the beginning. Tell us how you became a little horse girl.
Okay. Well, so I'm a Canadian, a die-hard Canadian with Jonathan Mueller and Robin Fred. So we're die-hard Canadians. I was born in Canada. My mom and dad, I've grown up in the horse industry my entire life. My mom and dad, they had a horse business. They worked hard all their lives and gotten paid for their farm. And we'd ride home at night after she was done work training horses for these people. And they broke out on their own.
Pattie, let's hold on for 1 second.
Okay.
Our live, I think, died. Is that right? We're back live. We're gonna let everybody jump back on. I don't know. It just absolutely kicked out. So hold that thought. Thank you, technology. We are live. We're 26 seconds live. Hopefully everybody join back in here. play a little music here. We'll see if people kind of kick back in.
1, 2, go. Toast, toast, toast. So when we get back there, Patty,
We're live. We've got a couple people watching, but we had quite a few hundred.
Curious, what type of horses did your mom train at the beginning when you went around the corner like that? Do you remember?
So, they were quarter horses at that point. But my dad, he would come home at night and break thoroughbreds. They trained everything.
And then your dad had another job too?
Yes, he was, in the beginning, he was a foreman of Hostess potato chips. So he'd work all day and then come and ride horses at night. And,
did he ever bring home like a lot of extra chips?
Oh, yeah, I think so. I think he did. I was really small. And, but, they were amazing because they carved a life for themselves in the quarter horse industry. So I have been we bleed AQHA, and that's how I was raised. I got really immersed in the horses when I was around 9 years old. They had a horse come in, a mare come in. Her name was Little Dolly Joe, and she didn't have a right lead, and my mom helped me get a right lead on her. And then Kelly Smith from Ontario, they came in one day, and that was Kelly Smith's first horse, and she did amazing on her. And I was hooked. I rode everything that I needed to ride, and my parents always had me mounted on. As all horse trainer parents know, it's hard to get your kids mounted on great horses. Her time in training, she talked about shoulders and rib cages and hips. She was way ahead of her time.
So two things at this spot. Who taught her how to ride?
She was self-taught.
Really?
I don't know where she learned. Point. Yeah. And, she read a lot, experimented a lot. She just had a great feel with the horse and knew how to connect. And her and my dad made a great team. They had AQHA champions and supreme champions and honor roll. My mom went to they went to the very first World Show in Louisville, Kentucky in 1974. And my dad thinks Harold Hudspeth and Jack Kyle were judging. He's pretty sure they were. And so my mom went in the trail, and she was the first world champion in trail in 74.
So we have a picture popped up right now. I don't think you can see it, Patty, unless you're watching Facebook Live, but it's the one of your mom and dad on a rodeo horse.
Oh yeah, that's how they met. They met in the rodeo. They did the speed event horses, and my dad roped. My mom would push calves. My dad roped, and my mom one time rode a horse to the horse show. It was miles, like it took her I don't know how many miles, and then she showed the horse all day. And the judge at the end of the day told her, "You know what? I think you could get something done with this horse if you just rode it a little more." Rode to the show. But she thought when she first started riding, she thought you taught horses tricks. So she taught her horses how to rear up and how to do all the tricks. So
awesome.
Yeah, so they were a great team, and my mom it has influenced me.
So how about some other men, women back in the time like that, like when you're growing up?
Okay, so I still have in my office today, I have a binder of every single Bob Avila. He used to put a booklet out, and I have a binder of every book he published. I followed Bob Avila and Cynthia Canterbury.
Nice.
We really were influenced by the West Coast training and how they developed horses. And that was the main part of our program, and it was when I went out on my own. I got to ride with Marty and Jerry Stanford when Cleve was there. I took horses down the road with them. Alex Ross, Diane and Kenny Eppers. I remember watching them at the Congress, physical ed. And then, of course, Andy Mormon. She was, way ahead of her time in instructing people.
I love hearing the history of who your horsemen that all of the guests that we've had on, because I hear some familiar names.
Yeah.
Of tonight that even Robert Chown the other night said, and Leonard Berryhill, Cary Graham. I mean, the horsemen that we've had on here and the influences. It's awesome to see hear some of the same names pop up. So for those of you young horsemen that are around, and older horsemen as well, like, you never know who's watching and who's learning from you.
It's true. Carol Metcalf, she was another one. I would watch her at the Congress, and the top trainers would have her get on their horses and feel what was going on or whatever. I mean, she was one of my heroes growing up too.
Mine too.
Yeah.
So then, is that era somewhere where the Vollmer sisters are around and stuff like that?
No, the Vollmer sisters came in the 90s, in the early 90s.
So did you go to Italy first then, or?
I did. Okay, so grew up in the horse business, and helped. In that time, it was people sent horses to you to train, and they didn't participate with their horses. They sent them to you, and you took them down the road and showed them, and built records on them, and champions, and AQHA champions were a big thing that time, honor roll. And when I was 18 years old, there was some people by the name of, their last name was Donarini, and they were over there looking for horses from Italy. They were from Italy, and they were looking for horses. So they ended up at our place, and we sold them a horse, and they shipped it over, and they wanted one of us from the family to come over and help them get started. They were just new in the industry, very, very green. So my dad said, well, Pattie will go. So I'm like 18 years old, don't know the language, no cell phones then. They didn't speak English, but we muddled our way through. And so it was Paula Donarini, and she is still highly involved in the horse industry in Italy. Her husband's a NRHA reiner, monitors at is monitored at the reining fraternity. And they got their start at our place. And from there was a family called Archesi, and they came and purchased some horses, and I was flying back and forth before I knew it, helping them with their horses and showing. And I got such a great connection from the people from Germany, from Italy, Switzerland. I mean, I've just always had a great connection, and that I'm friends with many of the people that were there at the beginning when I went over with Paula Donarini.
Well, and it's amazing because Archesi is one of the top breeders in the reining.
Yeah, and they started out with pleasure and halter horses.
There you go.
From Joe and Pat Carter.
It's amazing.
Isn't that great?
This is what we love about this show, right? Is because how many people knew that?
Yeah.
I didn't know that before we talked the other day. I mean, that is awesome. That is awesome to know the history and how you see these people on the front of these magazines and in these magazines and wonder, wow, I wonder how they got into the industry. Well, you're talking to the lady right now that these leading breeders of reining horses that started in the pleasure and the halter. So again, we just never know who we're talking to that may change a generation sometime, right? Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. You never know.
So how many years was Italy?
4 or 5 years. And I flew back and forth. I was going to go to school. They laughed at me last night when we were talking about this. I wanted to go to the art school in Toronto and design album covers. I still was going to stay in the horses. I mean, when you're so involved in the horses, you either get totally out of it or you stay in it. I love the horses. Huh?
Just hear that, everybody, that wanted to design album covers.
I wanted to design album covers.
I think the majority of everybody here knows what an album is, but there's
that's right.
Some people are like, what do you mean? Album?
What?
Album?
Yes, and but the Italian experience just took me into my own business and branched out on my own and went from there.
And so Tim had mentioned earlier about the Vollmer sisters.
Mm-hmm.
We have a picture of that from the Quarterama, and you can share a little bit about the Quarterama because you got a good.
Oh yeah, so Quarterama was one of the major events at the Congress, and then I think maybe the second largest show was Quarterama, and it was in Toronto. And
Look at that picture.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that awesome? It's awesome.
Nice,
So it was no problem. It was held the beginning of March, and 1 year we take so many, because it's like when you live in Ohio, you take 100 horses to the Congress, and when you live in Ontario, you take 100 horses to Quarterama, and so I mean, 1 year we got 18 horses ready for Quarterama with no indoor arena. I mean,
no arena
no indoor arena.
What year is this?
February, March. I mean, January, February, March.
Still winter.
Oh my gosh, I remember coming in and just being so cold. I never thought I'd warm up.
Oh my.
But it's good. You can teach a horse to change leads going down a dirt road. I'm just saying.
Wow. So from there, can you tell me about? I got to talk about Paige, because she's one of my best friends.
Yes, absolutely.
So, talk about Paige a little bit, like when she was born and stuff like that, and then a little bit what she's doing right now.
Okay, so Paige was born in 93. And so when my parents were up and down the road showing every weekend, my grandparents helped raise me. I stayed with them when my mom and dad were going up and down the road till I was old enough to go and show. And so my mom and dad have helped raise Paige in the same way. And I'd be going off to judge a horse show, and I'd be so sad about leaving Paige behind. And my mom was like, Paige, or or Mom, or Patty, you have to go make a living. And she'd tell Paige the same thing. Your mom has to go make a living. So she is at 26, and she is the most amazing daughter anybody could ever possibly have. She's fun. She's adventurous. She's got this fabulous spirit, great personality, great sense of humor. She keeps me young. And she's the bomb. She's working for CEMEX right now, and absolutely loves it. And they ship bull semen all around the world. She has an egg business degree, and she's just doing really great. She has a great boyfriend, Kyle, and they've been together for 5 or 6 years now. And they skeet shoot, and they go hunting, and they ice fish, and eat Afghan food, and we axe throw together when I'm at home, and
so cool.
they're living the dream. So they're doing really, really good. I'm really proud of both of them.
Well, and I gotta say, I don't know her personally, but the pictures that you sent me and the pictures that everybody got to see up here, her smile says all exactly what you were saying about her.
Yeah, she's great. Yep, and
special.
Very, very. She is. Tim taught her. Tim he taught her as a little girl. Yeah. Like 11 or something.
Paige is a lot like her mother. She's this angel girl, and very coachable, right? And she tries so hard, right?
Yes.
So she's a trooper. So I love Paige too. She's a great girl for sure. And she's all grown up. She's all grown up. My God.
I know, and she's still involved in the horses. She's got a really nice hunt seat horse right now. And when I was talking to her this morning on the phone, she sold my pleasure driving cart in 2014, and I said, just sell it and do whatever with the money. And so she bought it back today. She bought it back from her friend, because she's got a friend at work that drives horses, and now she's going to teach her hunt seat horse how to drive. So she bought back my show cart and all the harness and everything.
That's awesome.
So she's a wheeler dealer. My mom and dad have an inline trailer, and it doesn't function anymore, and she got it sold, and she sold tires on the farm, and she's a wheeler dealer. So it's good.
Yes, industrious.
Canadian, like the Canadians here love doing that kind of stuff.
Absolutely, we do. Absolutely,
it's crazy stuff, but you guys get it done. How about just a little bit, just like after Paige and stuff, like when you're training and breeding and coaching. Before we get to Amarillo, can you just tell me what you were doing then?
Yeah, well, I got my judge's card in 98, and Paige was just little, and I still have tapes of her sitting beside me when I was learning the rule book, and I had taped my cassette tape to myself the rule book on, and I was doing everything I could to know the rule book the best I could, and you could hear her in the background talking. And so, Paige was a part of my business. We had great customers. We were so fortunate that the customers that I had and the youth kids that I have, Tom was talking about his longevity with horses, how awesome that was. And that's how I was raised. And you developed a horse and you took your time with it and you found the right event that it wanted to be in. And that's trained, showed, judged, gave clinics all over the world.
Director,
yes. Yeah. When I came to work for AQHA, I had been an AQHA director for 10 years. I got my card in 98. And the interesting thing about that is when I really wanted to make sure that I wanted to get my judge's card for me. My dad has been a judge for 39 years this year. Yeah, and he's judged all the majors, and he's got his NCHA card, and he can judge the cutting, and he can go judge the hunters, and he's got a great eye for a horse. He's a great horseman also. But I really wanted to make sure that when I got my judge's card, I wanted to do it for myself, and so I wanted to make sure I wanted to do it for myself, not because I thought my dad wanted me to do it. So when I decided that, I asked him, I said, should I get a paint card or how should I go about it? He said, just do your quarter card. So the first year I went through the judge's test, I missed the cut by like 1%. And it was heartbreaking, so I can really empathize with the judges that don't get through their first time. And you know what? It never affected me as being, I consider myself a judge, I was honest, a horseman, judged horses at face value, and I earned the respect of my peers by doing the right thing, which is not always the easiest decision.
So in some ways that probably made you even a better judge, right?
Absolutely.
Because I kind of went through the similar deal, because back when I got my card, you didn't get your all around back then. It was the kind of like a level 1 kind of card now.
Progressive.
I don't want to say that. Yeah, the progressive. There it is. That's
Yep.
And so I remember when Alex called me and told me, he goes, well, you got your judge's card. We're going to watch you for a year because, we put you in a progressive, gave you progressive status, or however he worded that. And at first I was like, but then I was like, you know what? That's okay. That honestly, I respected it. I respected their decision, however you want to call it. But it really, and then within a year I had my full card. But it really made me really want to step up and be a better judge that year.
Absolutely. The next year I went back and I was second in the class by 1 point. Michelle Pearson was first and I was second. But you find that as you go through life is that anything that is really worthwhile is something that you're going to have to work hard for. And
how about both you two judging at Reedley?
I know what
we get to judge together, but yeah, we both.
Yes. I judged Reedley. Okay, I got to tell you my Reedley story. So I'm judging judging the junior pleasure, and Tim's dad Frank. The junior pleasure is going, and it had rained, and Frank comes in, Tim's dad, with a shovel, and he starts digging a trench on the rail during the Western pleasure class.
Okay,
I loved Frank.
It was great.
Get to know Frank. I remember his big old huge water tank that looked like it came out of World War II or something like that.
Yeah, I just thought, you both judged early in your history.
Yes.
Judge all the major horse shows too. So I think you had in common too.
You bet.
So tell me real quick too, like before you did your Amarillo, did you judge, what events did you judge?
Okay, so I was a card carrying citizen.
Yes, ma'am.
I had my NSBA card, NRHA card. I was AA in the NRCHA. I had my APHA card, my Appaloosa card, Palomino. I was FEI an FEI judge. So well, fortunately, I got to judge the World Equestrian Games 2 times.
That's awesome.
Because of the FEI card. Yeah, and being a Canadian, I mean, it was a great opportunity.
Wow. Okay, so before I get to Amarillo, we talked about this morning about the World Cup in Canada. Can you just quickly, or not quickly, but tell me how it was involved when you had to put the World Cup in Canada together?
Okay, so I started in, Paige was born, so it was late 90s. I got involved in the World Cup. They'd asked me to coach Team Canada. So Genevieve Matheson, she was the manager, and I was the coach. And so I got involved in the Youth World Cup at that point. And every country, needs to take their turn putting it on. And they asked us they asked us in 2004, Canada, if we would host it. And so we said we would. And so I ended up chairing the event. And we had 19 teams. Wow. Okay, now they have the event in the summertime. So in the middle of the summer, and people donate their horses. We had 150 horses donated.
Oh, wow.
And we had great horses. Everybody, brought their best show horses for those kids to show. And the people that are still involved with the Youth World Cup, they have memories of how good it was. And, the people from Ontario, they just, they stepped up. We had, people from the U.S. that came, brought horses, and it was a great event. Took some years off my life, but it was a great event.
Fantastic.
Because,
go ahead, Tim.
Of all the World Cups, that's the only World Cup I got a clinic at because of Big A, right? So
yes, yeah. What do you remember about it, Tim?
I remember me going with Mr. Robin Frid, who's on tonight, and I remember him, and he knows this, we call it tornadoing, where we were clinicking all these kids, and we had to do the lope overs, right? We gave all the slow obstacles to all the other trainers, and Robin and I went for the lope overs, and it was like missiles coming at us, right? Like, we call them torpedoes, and then we would stand in their way so they wouldn't cut the corner off, right? And he's looking at me, and I'm looking at him, and they just kept coming and coming and coming. And there was so many of them. It was like, I don't know, but I do remember the lope overs because me and Robin talk about that all the time. And that's, like I said, the only time I ever got to go World Cup was for you. So
yeah, it was awesome. We had great clinicians. Like Robin was there. We had great reining horses, great cutters for the kids. It was Everyone stepped up. It was unbelievable. And taking care of 150 horses for 9 days is.
For other countries that would put on this World Cup, like, what advice would you give them?
Well, I think that I haven't been involved with it since I've been working at AQHA, but I think they've got some rules written in there now that, if there's maybe a smaller country putting it on, all the countries around it get together and they maybe limit the size of the teams. So you don't need as many horses.
Got it. So I think
So it's come to the time of our show, Miss Pattie Carter.
Yes.
It's that one time of our show where it's rapid fire questions. You like our little rapid fire music, ladies and gentlemen? We got this special for Miss Pattie Carter tonight. So she's going to have 10 questions she has not heard yet that Tim Kimura is going to give her. Are you ready, Tim?
Yes.
Let's do it.
Name something you missed from Canada that's different or can't get in the United States, and it can't be Jonathan's poutine.
Oh, Tim Hortons coffee. Oh, Tim Hortons coffee. Definitely.
Name a type of exercise you like to do away from work.
Just one?
2.
Okay, Zumba and hot yoga.
Nice.
Name the last airport away from Texas that you traveled to.
It was Frankfurt, Germany.
Name the last horse show or class you judged at.
Oh, I judged at the Gold Coast was my last show, the very first show I judged and the very last show I judged.
Nice. Awesome.
Full
Good
circle.
trivia right there.
Full circle.
Do you have a bit emoji?
Do I have a what?
I guess not.
A bit emoji, like a little emoji of yourself.
Oh, I do. I didn't know it was called
Somebody
that.
must have set that up for her.
No. It's a lit blonde. She's got a little hat on. Yes. Gary's seen it.
Do you have a hidden tattoo?
Do I have a tattoo?
Yeah.
Yes. I have.
You don't have to show us.
No, in Hebrew, I have. It's in Hebrew and it says warrior.
Oh, awesome! I love that.
When my sister died, I got faith on my arm in honor of her.
When?
I don't think my dad knows I have tattoos. Maybe he does, and he don't tell him. Paige, don't tell Papa.
When's the last time you went to Starbucks, and what's your go-to drink?
Oh, I went to Starbucks this morning. I gave up Starbucks for Lent. So Lent is over. I went to Starbucks. I get a venti almond milk flat white.
Got it. What's the last show you got to watch and enjoy on TV or Netflix?
Oh, I do HBO, and it was Leftovers.
Okay. This is tricky. Name 3 people whom you consider are in the all-time top 10 world greatest horsemen.
Oh, well, Bob Avila for sure.
Yeah.
Nancy Cahill for sure. Yeah. And Carol Metcalf.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Name or which of the 7 dwarfs remind you of yourself?
Happy.
Last question. If you're going on a horseback ride on the TV series Yellowstone, which 2 friends would you bring along?
Oh, you know what? I'm embarrassed. I'm not a Yellowstone watcher.
Montana. If you're going to take a trail ride in Montana.
Okay. I see. Which 2, not from Yellowstone?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Which 2 friends would I take? Oh, Gary Truby and Jennifer Thompson.
There you go. Perfect. Congratulations. You're a winner.
Good job, Patty. That was our rapid fire questions from the Man of Trail. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a commercial break and thank our sponsors. So hold tight. We'll be back with more from Pattie Carter.
Keeping It Real is brought to you by
Kimes Ranch Jeans, Blue Ribbon Custom Tack, Letchworth Bits and Spurs, JewettEquine.tv, Chauffeur Dough, Silver Dollar Circuit, Horseman's Future, Unishippers.
And now, Tim and Brad.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for holding tight. So we got to thank our sponsors, who we could not do this without. But Tim and I just right now want to just talk a little bit about what we have next week lined up for us. Tim, why don't you talk about our week, please?
We have Jason and Dan from High Point.
Wow.
On Monday. On Wednesday, we have the triplets, the triplets, the Canizero brothers. And then we have from AQHA, Mr. Justin Billings on Friday.
Woo!
Yeah.
And on Thursday, on Type the Topic, we have our special guests, Gino Spagnola and Mr. Robin.
Yeah, it's going to be another great week.
Another big week. Never stops. It never stops.
I mean, it doesn't. It's like one right after another. We talk about these epic weeks, and I just can't tell you how much we appreciate these amazing guests like Patty. They're busy people, ladies and gentlemen, even in the midst of all this. And you're going to hear more about what AQHA is doing tonight. And then, of course, next week with Justin as well. And then Robin and Gino are going to tell us a little bit about the task force with the trail, and Tim as well. So these people are working, and they're working hard so that when we get back to horse showing, things are going to be even better than ever. So, and I have a feeling from what we heard from Patty in the interview process here that everybody's going to really see a difference. And so it's exciting. So let's bring Miss Patty back in and let's continue grilling her. And by the way, Charlie, like, who's Dan? I don't know. This Dan guy. This Dan.
Oh. Okay. So here we go, Patty.
I'm back.
Yeah, love to have you back. Tell me again about how the job was offered to you at AQHA.
Okay, so I was judging the World Show in 2010.
Yes.
And Don Treadway and Tom Persicino took me aside and asked me if I would be interested in coming to work at AQHA. And like I said before, my whole life has been AQHA. You know, we live it and we bleed it in our family. So, but it was a hard decision, you know, because we had a great business at that time, and I had all my judging cards, and you know, I loved being a director, and I loved, you know, giving that way and being a servant in the industry that way. So with a lot of prayer and talked to my mom and my amazing daughter, Paige, she was the deal breaker for me. She said, Mom, you have to do it. It's a great opportunity. So that was it. And Doug and I were married at the time, and I got home from the World Show, and we got all of our customers together, and they were devastated. It was bad, horrible, but we helped them all get into new places, and packed up my stuff. The last show I judged was the Florida Gold Coast, which was also my first show, I was saying, and drove to Amarillo, Texas. And
quickly, I have a question.
Yeah.
So, I think Beverly Hillbillies. I'm just thinking you went for all that stuff. And moving to Amarillo, right?
Yeah, right.
And I've been so I know you had a lot of stuff.
Up the horse trailer and moved to Amarillo.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it was a
or was it? Did you have someone haul some stuff down there, or how?
Yeah, we shipped the furniture down. We brought down the bare necessities, and then the rest was shipped afterwards.
Right.
But I got to tell you, it was a culture shock. I'd been self-employed my whole entire life and made my own decisions, and something needed to be done. I did it, and it doesn't work that way in an office. You don't just do something, right? So it was, but
so,
go ahead.
So the job that you took the first time you began at Amarillo here is executive director of shows. Is that what it was?
Yeah, it was executive director of shows. Mm-hmm.
So, I'm just jump there. Just can you tell me like what that means a little bit? Like,
I was the focus of when I came in was I was involved in the Blue Ribbon Task Force in 2009, and they got a group of people together because they saw a decline in the entries, and so this group Blue Ribbon Task Force got together, and we did some studies, and we knew that we needed to up our, just have more of a handicapping system in our shows. And I was brought in to work with the Blue Ribbon Task Force, and we took the competition the way we knew it and just turned it upside down. And really, AQHA has been leveling forever. There used to just be open classes, and then there was youth division, and then an amateur division, and then 13 and under and 14 to 18. I mean, we've been leveling all the way down through the history. But when we did the studies on the numbers, 50 to 80% of all of our exhibitors, now this is after they've pointed out a novice, they've gone through what used to be called novice, in a 3 to 5 year period, 50 to 80% of our members were not earning a half a point. So we saw a huge.
Can you repeat that part one more time, please? Because that is a staggering statistic, in my opinion.
It is. When we studied the numbers, the people that had pointed out of novice in a 3 to 5 year period, 50 to 80% of the exhibitors didn't earn half a point.
Wow.
So
So they would get discouraged and go back to the open shows, or get a boat or whatever. They couldn't step up into that top level.
Can you just tell me real quick, like who some of the other task force members were, or the blue ribbon ones, or the lovely ones?
Oh yeah. We had a great. It was the best committee I've ever served on. We had Jeff Malott was on there, Sam Rose, Norm Luba, Chris Darnell, Gail Little, John Pipkin, Jan Berner. She's a great numbers girl. Benny Sargent. And there was not one person on that committee that was self-serving. They were all in it to make the industry better. And it was just the best task force I've ever served on. And really the core goal of it is to progress horses and retain exhibitors and level the playing field. And we wanted to ensure that horses and exhibitors of similar ability were competing against each other. And, it's a handicapping system.
Right.
So, like Brad was saying today or yesterday, like how, maybe say it again, Brad, about how your people, before they thought like it was not such a big deal to be a level 2 and place high in it, but now it's more prestigious, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I think it's definitely shown it with my exhibitors, because stepping out of the level 1 into, which was not level 3 originally, it was just stepping out of novice into the regular classes.
Mm-hmm.
People would struggle, and mentally, and so it was a task as a trainer to encourage them, like,
yeah,
you can
sure.
do this, you can do this, you can do this. And,
Sure.
They just feel like sometimes they're just keep beating their head against the wall, and then they finally have a breakthrough. Well, now we have this opportunity with the level 2. And maybe when it first started, it kind of felt like, well, it wasn't level 3. I won the level 2, but I didn't win the level 3. But now, I mean, just as recent as Sun Circuit, which is most fresh in my head, but they come out and my clients win the circuit in the level 2 classes, and they're excited about it. I mean, they're legitimate because they understand this is where they're at. There's still a bigger hill to climb, but they see that now. They see that step in the right direction that is giving them hope to say, well, if I can go from level 1 to level 2, then I can go from level 2 to level 3. It was sometimes was a bigger reach mentally to get them to go, is it really worth it? Because it's going to take a long time. But now they can see that and feel that. And that can happen within a year or 2 years. And in the meantime, they are still getting it. They still get to go experience the world show.
Exactly.
Exactly. Same thing with Congress is, whenever I tell my people when they first get to go, you just need to come and don't have any expectations. Just come and learn how things work. And now they get to come and learn how things work, but they're not competing against the big level 3s maybe, but they have that goal for that level 2, and they're ready to fired up for the next year.
Well, our level 2 classes at the Youth World, the past 2 years have been our biggest classes. And, when you give people a place to, whether it doesn't matter what sport, if they feel like they have a chance when they're competing, they're going to come play. If they don't feel like they have a chance, and people go to the horse shows to be recognized, and it's recognizing a whole new group of people. Because of the leveling program, where we awards to all the rookie year-end high point winners, the certificate with an option to purchase a trophy, the level 1s, the level 2s. And that's where the growth is. That's where what we needed to do is, have some place that the people are out there showing. I mean, look at Charlie's virtual horse show.
You bet.
They're there, and you just got to figure out some way to touch it. And that's what we did with the level 1 shows, the level 1 championship shows, which actually was a concept that Holly Hover came up with. And then we took it and run with it. And the same thing, the first year. Yeah, thank you, Holly. The first year we had it in Tennessee, we actually had to go back and add days to the horse show because we were going to go around the clock. So it's been great. And I'm going to let Justin tell you. Hopefully he can share some new level 1 stuff we've got coming down the pike.
I'm sorry if I teased that point a little bit, ladies and gentlemen. I was so excited after the potential news that we were maybe going to get to break tonight, but it looks like we're going to have to wait a week. But
that's a teaser. I'm going to let
you guys are going to be sitting on pins and needles now.
Let's have just 2 questions at this spot real quick. One, just the philosophy you're saying about the level 2s. I think that's what trail's about. I mean, that's why trail's so popular, right?
Yep.
Because you think chance, you can go against anybody in trail in a weird way because you never know.
Well, and you know what's brilliant too about that is that you can qualify for the level 3 just by showing level 2 all year, right? You can get enough points. Mm-hmm. So how many level 2s do we see in the finals at the level 3, in the level 3 at the World Show? That is awesome.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
My second part of this question is, would Select, Lori was asking on the phone, would Select ever have a level 2 in their World Show?
So what happens with the leveling is the level 2 is some of the classes aren't big enough to level at the Select. Now we recognize the top 3 level 2 riders at the Select World. We recognize them. We just don't have it in a separate classes, and that's not saying that we couldn't in certain classes moving forward. You know, the leveling program, they've got a subcommittee. Norm helped initiate a subcommittee for the leveling. It's a leveling subcommittee. It's part of the show committee. And, you know, anything like this you take and you get it started, and you just have to keep massaging it until it gets better. So
hey, real quick, Tim, Dan Train just posted a message. I don't know if it was on the live feed or not, but this is a good point too that we really haven't touched on. Is another big value of the leveling is allowing our horses to compete in different levels.
Absolutely.
So again, for those owners that you know, they bought the horse, or maybe a yearling or 2, but maybe it's just not at that peak. It still gives credibility to that animal and allows that animal to still compete at a high level, you know, at the world shows or wherever else you want to compete. So very good point, Dan.
Absolutely. Yeah, and you know, we studied the leveling program for a year before we launched it. We went and put it over top of the Silver Dollar Circuit and the Prairie Classic and several shows, and it just kept proving time and time again the way you took the level 3 placings, and if those people were pulled out the level 2s, how it all shuffled, and it really has worked. And the trail people were the first people to embrace it. We launched it, and the trail group, they got it right off the bat in Florida, and had it right off the bat.
Okay, so I need to back up one step because I really want to get to Professional Horsemen since we're wearing the brand tonight, right?
I know. I'm so proud of you. That is so amazing. That's so awesome.
Okay.
And let's talk Pro Horsemen. Yes. Yes.
You were going to share us a story before we started tonight, but I'd love to hear the story about how the Professional Horsemen started and how that worked.
Okay, so Don Burt, I hope you have some of you know who Don Burt is. He's a great horseman from the West Coast, one of my mentors, and I had the opportunity to work with him. He was on the executive committee, and he said there needs to be a committee for professional horsemen. And the executive committee at that time, they were not for it, and he fought for it. And got the first Pro Horseman meeting was in 1993. Pete Kyle was the chair, and I was fortunate. I was blessed to be on that original committee. And, you know, it just keeps doing. The professional horsemen are so important in our industry. They're a mighty group that drive the industry, and they have so much influence on what happens at AQHA. So it's a great program. So I got to be on the first committee. I was fortunate enough to be chair of the Professional Horseman Committee when I was a director at AQHA. And then when I came to AQHA, I had the honor of you know, being a staff liaison for that group. And Steve Meadows was chair when I was with that group, and they're just doing such great things. And I'm really proud of Kara McQuiston. She's taken the program on, and
She's done a great job. She's done a great job.
She has. She really has. And that's what, when you do something in your life, when somebody takes it over, it's a testimony to the program if it keeps improving. I mean, the next person that, Alex did so many great things in the judges program, and I'm building on that, and I'm trying to make it better than Alex did. And whoever takes it from me, that means I was successful if that next person takes it and runs with it. So I'm really, the Pro Horseman is flourishing, and it's just, the Pro Horsemen never say no, and they continue to give. And I'm so proud of the Professional Horseman program.
Well, Pattie, awesome information. I've never heard the history of how the Professional Horseman has actually gotten started and how it came to be. So that was news to me, because that's something we actually didn't talk about the other day. Yeah. Right now, Pattie, we're at 10 till. We're going to take another little commercial break here.
Perfect.
So we're going to thank our sponsors again and regroup our questions. Make sure we're ready for the end haul here. We're not going to end at 8, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to go past 8 o'clock because we got a amazing guest tonight. So everybody hold tight. Please.
Keeping It Real is brought to you by
Kimes Ranch Jeans, Blue Ribbon Custom Tack, Letchworth Bits and Spurs, JewettEquine.tv, Chauffeur Dough, Silver Dollar Circuit, Horseman's Future, Unishippers.
And now, Tim and Brad.
All right. Thank you. And I wanted to say before break, but I want to say it right now, ladies and gentlemen. You see our sponsors here nightly. So if you know them personally, if you are friends with them on Facebook, or you have their personal text message, please thank them, because we're hoping that you're enjoying our show, the great guests that we have on, and we couldn't do this without them. So please make sure you thank them. I know Tim and I both have had people message us the night after, and I've seen it on our Facebook page as well, that people just say thank you, sponsors. So please continue to thank them. All right, Timmy, let's keep rolling.
Okay, Patricia, here it goes.
All right.
So, I really need to know, or I'd like everyone to know about how we restructured, or how AQHA made a restructure of the various departments now, and how that worked. Maybe?
Well, we are really fortunate to have Aaron Bovos on our team, and he shows horses. He's our CEO, CFO. He's the one we go to, him and Craig. And Craig has had a lot of vision. Aaron has come in and has been so dynamic. And, he got us together as a show team, and we listed all the things all of our responsibilities that we do. And he said, you can't be great at all of these things. We need to restructure this and get it where you can be great at a few things. And he's encouraged us to read a book called Good to Great. And so everybody that we've read it, and
part of that book. That's a great book.
It is. It's a great book. And so he has allowed us to restructure the show department. Justin Billings is chief show officer. And then we have, we've been able to group off and really build our teams. We've brought on, Heidi has been there. She's a great asset. Garrett Carty has come on. Karen was there already. Melinda Ackley, she's, the backbone of the competition department. Shelly Spears. So what they've done is they've taken all the programs, anything that, if there was no horse shows, those programs would still continue on. And so now we have a program department that actually Karen is the director of, Karen McQuestion. And then under it is the ranching, pro horseman, horseback riding program, 50-year breeders. There's several things, any program oriented things. And go ahead. Were you going to ask?
With all this, I'm just curious, your department, what's on your plate, like as director of judges, what's your job description? Just by
Okay. So I am over at, education is one of my big mantras is education. That's a really big thing. We're revamping the online competition book. I oversee putting together the applicants school, take care of, unfortunately, some disciplinary things that happen. I took the torch from Alex drawing patterns for the World Show. We oversee hiring the World Show judges. I assign judges to the classes. We prep them at the World Show. And then I also am over the Stewards program. I work with Ward, Justin and Ward and I work together on that. And so the Stewards, over the Stewards program also.
So that's a lot. That's a lot to take on. That's a long description right there. Wow. Something that came to my mind is drawing patterns, because we got one of the best sitting beside you. And I think he had some kind of influence. I shouldn't say sitting beside you. He's actually on the screen beside you. But tell us a little bit about how Tim influenced your pattern drawing skills along with your album drawing skills.
Yeah, exactly. So again, it comes full circle. My art background, the drawing patterns when I judged, and so yeah, Tim has really been a big influencer with me. He is so, as you all know, it's amazing what he does, and he's got such a vision for space, and he's such a great horseman. So he has really helped me. I learned a lot from Alex, and that's one of the most stressful parts of my job is drawing patterns, because as Tim can appreciate, if it goes bad, there's nothing you can do about it at that point, and you've got to draw for different levels, and yeah.
Like that World Show, I think when we talk about pattern drawing, that prelims is the monster to get the right one for the right level of people, especially when we got 2s and 3s going against each other, trying to get to our finals, trying to make it working for the level 2 people and not make a mess, that's super hard. But I'm gonna roll you into this. How about you talking to those kids the other day? I thought,
oh my gosh, yes. Well, you guys inspired me. You both of you are such an inspiration, and Charlie and everyone that's doing the online. So in redoing this judge manual, I was looking at pictures from the World Show, and last year the finals pattern, I had the kids come into the arena, jog into the arena and pick up a lope to the center, kind of cow horse-ish. Love the cow horse events. So, and then do a large fast circle. And I thought, I was looking at pictures and I thought, I loved that. And then I thought, you always wonder if people like your patterns or not. And, my goal when I'm drawing patterns is to, challenge the kids and have them come out from the World Shows or any patterns they write of mine, of ours, the team works on them, and become better horsemen or better equitators or better showmen. Or so anyways, I contacted the top 10 riders in the level 3, 14 to 18. And this past week we had focus groups with them. So I had showmanship, horsemanship, and equitation separate focus groups. And they were about 40 minutes apiece. Had a blast. The kids, my goal I wanted to be able to connect with the kids. I love the kids. And I wanted to make sure I was drawing stuff they liked, they felt challenged by, and just to inspire me. And I got to tell you something, it was so fun. Those kids are, they're so smart, so talented.
Tim, I'm not going to take but a second, Tim, because I do the same thing when I love to draw my patterns because I have a thought pattern. I'm excited when I get to judge my patterns, not just for the people that show it, because obviously we can't talk to them, but I love it when I get to hear the feedback from the other judges that I'm judging with. So it's like, if they didn't like it, I'm like, I got to go home. What do I need to tweak, right? I mean, I love it. It's a true. You either, I guess, have that passion to do that, or you don't. But I mean, I can see that in you.
Listen, you two, here it goes. Patterns are like music. You both like music.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's an art to being this choreographer of music. Right. Okay. And you like music. Patty likes music. As I've hung out with you guys. So as you have this thing in your mind, whether it be my trail or your horsemanship, equitation, or whatever, that's what you're painting. You're choreographing this person dancing in front of you. Okay. You know the steps you want. You're making your own dance, right? So I'm curious. I have to ask, because this is such a different thing that you talked about with using the kids or this group. Tell us how it worked. Like, let's just do one event, horsemanship. Like, how did you integrate with this? I'm not sure how to say it, but
okay. So I sent them all an email, and I made sure that I invited them to the focus group, give them a little background on what I wanted to accomplish. I made sure that their parents emailed me back to give them permission to be on the call, and so we had brought the 10 on. There was maybe 8 on every focus group. There's a couple kids that had online classes. And we brought them in, did a little roll call and just said, you're not going to hurt our feelings. You can tell us if you like something or don't. It's not going to be held against you.
You mean you didn't write their names down to give it to the world champions this year? Are you sure about that, Patty?
I promise you. And so they were so good. They were interactive. Came up with some great ideas, and it was really, really, really super fun. If hopefully I have time to do it again next year. I think I'm going to make the time, and I'll bring the 13 and under world champions in, and the top 10, and it'll be, that'll be so fun. I'm going to do the same exercise with the amateurs, the top 10 amateurs at the World Show, and the top 10 select. So, I want to make sure that I'm drawing patterns that are challenging them. Like, Tim, the select is always tricky to draw for. And so I want their feedback, and I want, you want a pattern to be challenging, but it really sucks if you don't like a pattern, and you've got to, try to like a pattern and try to be successful at it. It can be challenging, but you got to, I want to draw stuff that people like.
So I'll interrupt here for a sec. So I would say my friends in London would say that's brilliant. That's brilliant. It's brilliant that you did this. Okay, I'm glad we inspired you, but I get my feedback. I mean, I have a lot of friends out there, Jason, Rob, and they have no problem telling me if my pattern sucks or if it's okay. And I'm good about it now. I wasn't so good about it in the 90s, but I'm good about listening.
Only took a decade.
Listening, okay, and taking notes. I mean, like every course can't be the greatest, but okay, what was good about it? What did I mess up at? Let me fix that. You're reading to me before we got on about don't be afraid if you make a mistake, but learn from your mistake and see if you can get corrected. I can get things corrected too on a pattern too by giving more room or getting it lined up better too. So. Right. I took that in the warm-up too. I watched that a little bit for sure. So
well, you're fortunate because you're in the trenches with them. You are
true.
You are in the trenches, so you have that constant feedback and that communication. Where I don't have that luxury, and I was I wonder if they like my patterns. Well, duh, ask them. Right. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to doing the exercise with everyone else, and. All that you want to do in any job that you have, I mean, for me, is you want to make it better. You just want to get it right. When you're judging, you just want to get it right, and you want to make it better. And that's my goal, is to just try to keep making it better for everybody.
So I'm going to just keep going here a little bit.
Yep.
You mentioned that the judges at the World Show, I kind of know the system, like how you guys get warmed up and how you prep them and stuff like that. But sometimes the public doesn't really understand what goes through, like the night before, or the day before, when you're warming your judges up and prepping them. Can you kind of go in the monitoring system also? Can you just briefly talk about that?
You bet. So first of all, we make sure that we're really careful when we're assigning our judges, and we want we want judges to be team members. We want them to go in there and just, all she can ask people to do is go in and do their best and get it right. And so the team concept is really key for us, for our World Show judges, because when you judge, you're going to make a mistake. And that's what your teammates are for. They bring you up. And we have an educational schedule, and we watch videos. It's very interactive. We ask, ask questions. Sometimes it's a real talkative group, but they're all very relaxed, and the information that comes out of there is just amazing. And then when they go to the arena to judge that first horse, they're ready to judge the first horse. And
right.
That the trail is, on different events you focus on different things. The trail is, make sure that you're not make them earn it, but that it's a bad feeling when you're up there monitoring and the first 10 horses go and the scores are tight. You're like, oh my gosh. Right. So that's the whole mental thing. And so it's just like getting ready for a game. And when we do coaching sessions and talk strategy and obviously we make sure that everybody's consistent with the rules. And
you also have help sometimes too, right? You have other people that help do.
I do. Bill Inc. has. I've been really blessed to have Bill Inc. Come in and help us be a judge monitor, and he is same thing. I mean, he goes out and he walks and he comes in, and I think we can do it better this way, and that's all we're trying to do is get it right and make the right decisions. So we have a monitoring program that we use at the World Shows, and if there's a run that could potentially be in the finals, and there's a non-inconsistency and a major penalty, that run is marked, and we do a video review of it at the next break. And the judges don't have to change their scores. It just gives them an opportunity to make sure they're doing it right. And so they watch it and they make a decision whether the penalty was there or it's not. If it's the benefit always goes to the exhibitor,
I can totally attest to that, because when I judged the World Show, that contrary to some probably beliefs out there that we're swayed as judges to do a certain thing here and there, and I can tell you right here, camera in the face, that is absolutely not the case. Because we had a situation in the Western Riding where one was called a penalty 3, and think one person caught it, and so it got triggered, and so we went in and watched it on the break, and we had some that said nope, it's not a penalty 3, and we had some that said, oh yeah, I missed that. That is definitely a penalty 3. So some changed, some didn't, and we walked out of there like, okay, that's totally appropriate. Nobody talked anything negative about, because we all have a certain respect for each other, right?
Absolutely.
So and there was no swaying by the powers that be at the time. It was straight up, okay, that's what we got. That's what we're marking on our cards. If somebody needs to change it, they change it. If you're leaving it, you're leaving it, and you go on.
Yeah, so, exactly.
Very fair. Very, very fair.
Thank you.
One more thing. It's like, how about the footage? Like, do you guys make penalty tapes with some of the stuff that you see at the World Shows and use that for further education, stuff like that? Like, sometimes there's little penalties that we see out there at the World Show.
Absolutely. So I get a draw sheet. Bill and I both get a draw sheet, and we score the runs, and pay attention that when there is we see a non-consistent when we see a penalty, we'll mark it on our sheet, and if it's not consistent, then we know what it is. Jeremy Olson has upped the game on video reviews. He is absolutely amazing. We go down there, they pull it up, boom, we can look at it, and Jeremy has our laptop set up so we can do a video review. If we get a phone call or get pulled away and there is a review, we can pre-watch it, and so it's really good. So
I'm just going to roll into this too. Then can you tell me about your online education for the judges?
Okay, so that was one thing that everything is going online, and so it's something that was really important to myself when I had the opportunity to become director of judges, is get us up to speed on online education. And so the first year it was really tough. We put a lot of stuff online, and I got, people are so nervous about technology and they're afraid of it. And so I had a lot of pushback on it, but everybody got on, and they were, open-minded. They tried to embrace a growth mindset, and people don't like change, but I'm not buying that, because I changed my whole life to come to the association. So I'm like, don't give me that. And, I was so proud of the judges that have become more tech savvy anyway because of the online. And I'm really proud of it. I'm really proud of the fact that the European judges can get the same fantastic education that we get domestically. And, it's been really great to see that. It doesn't replace the in-person conference, but it's the education that we have on there, the professionals that have given their time and their knowledge, and we have that captured. And you can go to a horse show, and if you haven't judged a roping in a while, you can refresh on the roping, and you've got that content. I will tell you that we're going to be amping up the AQHU. We're going to do some a la carte options. So maybe a customer could purchase 1 or 2 classes and watch them. We're going to do more voiceovers. We're going to attack AQHU coming this week. And I've been blessed to have Terry Lovelady and Sydney Reynolds on the team. We've got her hired part-time, and she is brilliant addition. And so anyways, we're looking forward to ramping up the education, doing more voiceovers.
So you told me a little bit about this too. Tell me about the coronavirus with the horse shows, what impact it has, and maybe just how you guys interact at the office now.
Well, anybody that can work at home, we're all working from home. We've got certain people that go in and check the mail, but it's very, we're all shelter in place as we've been instructed by the CDC, and it's been very, very. I know it's been such a big hit to the horse industry, and it's unprecedented times, and who knows what our horse shows are going to look like when we can get back and going.
So that's my question. What do you think it's going to look like when we go back?
Who knows? I don't think anybody knows. I can see people wearing masks. It's going to be kind of hard to social distance in the barns. I can see, the show office having the marks like they do at the grocery stores now. Hand sanitizer. I mean, it's biosecurity for the people and horses.
Right.
Well, the trail table for sure needs that plastic thing at my table, right? And then
yes.
Yeah. And then I'm thinking from the judges to the ring stewards when they're calling out scores all the time. That you guys would what?
I just totally see Tim's table when we go back to work.
I do too.
I think
Carson's going to be over here.
Plexiglass with holes in it, and if you have a question, slide it through the hole, please.
Yeah. Write your questions down now.
And then he sprays his Lysol through the hole after you slide your question.
Well, I do see more judges driving to horse shows. I see show managers hiring judges that can drive to horse shows because of the fear of traveling. I can see that. I see that kind of shifting, and I think I know we're all ready to get back at it. And I am at home frantically working to get all these projects done that I want to get done and get ahead of the game. Right. So when we hit the ground, I will tell you that at AQHA, we have not been sitting around twiddling our thumbs. We have been laser focused on the new classes that have been passed by the executive committee that came through member requests. We've got so we've got the Working Hunter Under Saddle, and that was a concept that was developed through the AQHA English subcommittee. And the first year, the executive committee turned it down, and they went back and reworked it. And the executive committee went. They did numbers. They didn't give up, and so it's ready. Going to be ready to go when we're back up on.
Oops. Can I ask a question about that class?
You bet.
So, can a horse that shows hunters or hunter hack show in that flat class and then show in the other flat class too, or do you have to pick one or the other?
So to be eligible for the working hunter under saddle, you have to do complete a jumping class,
Yes.
right? And then, but there's no cross entry at this point, and that's where the committee had landed on that. So I'm not sure that won't change in the future, but
So is that one or the other, as you're saying?
yeah, yes,
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
yeah. And then we have a great alliance with the Western Dressage.
Yes.
USEF, and we're going to have that ready to go, the Western Dressage, and then the Ranch Trail that we've been anxiously awaiting. They're working on that. So we have been, working on getting ahead. They're sending out digital registration certificates. We have been working our being laser focused on our projects. So when we get back, we can give our members the service they deserve and the service that we want to give them.
So I still have just a couple questions left. Okay. It's okay? Yeah. I'm really curious about what advice you can give to young judges starting out.
That's good.
Well,
Good.
and young judges are judges that have that are still judging. You got to always be better. You got to keep educating yourself. If you're just starting judging, get experience, go watch classes, go find a professional horseman and sit and score classes with them.
Yeah.
The ropers, they want you to be a good judge because they want to have good judges judging them.
Absolutely.
So it's in their benefit to spend time with you. And there is not one professional horseman out there that doesn't want to embrace a new judge and bring them in. And you've got to know where your strengths are and your weaknesses are and work on your weaknesses and, stay humble. And remember, you're serving the industry. When you go to judge, it's not about you. It's never about you. It's about the industry that you're serving. And being a judge carries a huge responsibility. Every decision that you make, you're influencing the industry and either in a positive or negative direction. And so you've got to take it so serious. You've got to take those decisions serious. You got to have a sense of humor. And you got to know that, once you get your judge's card, that's not the end of it. I mean, that's just the beginning. That is just the beginning. And we're working on a judge mentor program where a new judge will be mentored up with a judge. We're going to start it on the judge from the judges committee. They'll have their option, and they're going to have a mentor to walk them through those first couple horse shows or as long as they want. So they have somebody they can lean on and get direction from and give them a really strong start.
Boy, that sure would have been nice when I was in Reedley, California, all by myself for my very first ever horse show to judge.
Yeah.
It's tricky. It's tricky. So my big question, okay, this is the one I love the most, is what's AQHA Proud mean to you?
AQHA Proud to me means I have the awesome opportunity to serve our members and, to be associated with such great horses. And it's an honor to serve. We all have servant hearts at the association, and we're there to I'm there to make the judges program as best as I can and look out for the judges and be an advocate for them, help them when I can. Everybody is serving the membership where they need to be as a whole great big team. And I will tell you, we've got an excellent team in the show department, and really, proud of the girls that enter it's Jenny Hart and Lisa Pond and Melanie Willis and Carol and we've got Terry Lovelady and there's Sandra and there's Sydney Reynolds, and we've got it's a great team that we've got all around us, and it's not we all work together, and it's I'm really excited about where we're going.
Makes all the difference. Team makes all the difference.
It really does.
So I'm just going to throw it this way. Has AQHA changed your life? Working at AQHA has changed your life, and where do you see our future?
Okay, so absolutely. Has it changed my life?
Yeah.
Absolutely. First of all, I hardly knew how to run a computer when I went there. I mean, I knew the basics, but, I was thrown in. And fortunately, I had Tim Callahan, and, he showed me about pivot tables and PowerPoints, and oh my gosh. So electronically, I'm way, way better. One thing that has changed me, I think I'm much better at seeing both sides, seeing an issue from different perspectives. And I think that's so important, that if you get a story from one side, there's always another side, and you've got to investigate it and kind of put all the pieces together. Don't prejudge. That's something I know I've become better at. How to organize my thoughts, and how to develop and work on a team. When you're self-employed, you have a little bit of a team, but it's a whole. Working in an association is such a different structure. So, and just basically developing my admin skills. When I was in the trenches, I was developing my people skills and horsemanship skills, and the people skills have really helped me in the association. Definitely. I've brought a lot to the table in that case, I think. And
how about this, guys? Another question. Can you just quickly tell us the Justin Billings story?
Oh, yeah, I love the Justin Billings story. Okay, so Justin, the first time I saw Justin, he said it was in Lexington, Virginia. We were there showing, and I saw him out grazing his horse. And, it's something I do, is take my horse out and let it eat grass. And you don't see anybody do that. And I just thought that was so thoughtful and kind. And the more I got to know Justin, I just realized how brilliant and how bright he was. And it just had I don't know, there's just something about Justin that's amazing. It's great. You'll those of you that don't know him, I hope you need to come and watch him on Friday. So we had a position open up at AQHA, and I said, I think that I would really like for you to, think about applying for the job. So he did, and he came in for an interview, and then they went another direction with that position. And then when Alex retired and I moved into his position, there became an opening, and he applied for it and got the job. And
right.
now he's my boss. He's Show Officer Justin Billings.
Yeah,
That's
how cool
awesome.
is that?
Yeah.
Okay, I think I got it. Wow, that's
Good.
huge.
Amazing interview tonight.
Thanks. It was so much fun, and I thank you so much. I thank your sponsors for having the vision to step up, and that's it's great. And these guys are doing such a great service to the industry. So I'm proud of both of you.
Thank you, Patty. That means more than you know.
Right.
For sure. Before you go, Patty, we want to talk about our trivia question winner last night that we did not announce, that won the Shane Rucks free digital image. Do you remember the lady's name?
Annika Rear.
Because you know Annika.
I do. I do.
Annika, I'm not sure if you're on tonight, Annika, but if you are, we need you to contact us so that we can get you the information to be able to get you to the Rucks photography group so that you can get your free digital image. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of our show for the night. Pattie Carter has been a great guest. Please, if you didn't get to see the beginning, go back and watch it. And I know on Facebook it's going to look like two different pieces because we lost our feed somewhere about 20 minutes, 15 minutes into it. So make sure you watch both pieces if you didn't, if you caught in here at the last part. But So
Great.
much information. So much information. And she didn't get to share the big reveal. But
No, you got to leave that to Justin.
Justin next week is going to do that for us. So, Pattie, again, I can't say thank you enough. And I know all of us, we can't wait to get back to horse showing. And we know that horse showing is in great hands with people like you. So we know that you're doing all you can to make sure that when we come back live, that it's going to be better than ever.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. It was so much fun. Appreciate you.
Okay. Take it away, Bradford.
Good, Timmy. All righty.
This has been a Kona Cam production, brought to you by Kimes Ranch Jeans, Blue Ribbon Custom Tack, Letchworth Bits and Spurs, JewettEquine.tv, Chauffeur Dough, Silver Dollar Circuit, Horseman's Future, Unishippers. Thanks for watching. Tune in next time.